Hello there, and welcome to another Wellness Wednesday. I am really excited because this month we are focusing on sleep and mood. And today I'm going to talk a little bit more about how to get great sleep without medication. A lot of times when we're not getting proper sleep, we may try sedatives, we may try sleep medications that have some pretty harmful side effects if they're taken long term, but can also be very addictive. A lot of times when we're taking medications that are sedative, they do tend to kind of drug you into a sleep. So we don't necessarily get that healing REM sleep to help us bounce back and heal properly when we're sleeping. So today I have a presentation I want to share with you. So I'm going to share my screen here and then we will go from there. All right, here we go. Well, let me get this up and rolling. All right, so like I said, today we're going to talk more about great sleep without medication. Really, when it comes down to it, I feel like so many people are dealing with sleep issues. And like I said, they may medicate, they may be taking prescription medications to get that sleep. But as you know, we here, if you haven't seen my office or my channel before, I'm Dr. Andrea Schnowske, and I'm here with Freedom Chiropractic and Holistic Health. We are located in Peoria, Illinois, and you are coming to us now on our YouTube channel, Health and Horsepower. We want to share tips on how to get you healthy and also help you educate so you know how your body works, functions, and heals so you can help yourself when it comes to your health problems. So today, like I said, we're talking about sleep. So great sleep without medication. The first thing I want to talk about is the fact that 55% of adults experience problems with insomnia sometime in their lifetime. Now, if you're a parent, that may be like 100% of the time. I know my 5-year-old, when she just turned 5 last week, she loves to jump in our bed, take up all the space, and I feel like she is a night owl. But anyways, 55% of adults are experiencing insomnia. So this is a very common problem in the US especially. The other thing that when we look at sleep deprivation and not getting enough sleep, that has been linked to not only motor vehicle accidents, where we can actually, due to reaction time or just simple sleepiness and falling asleep at the wheel, that can cause accidents that can injure you, your family, or others. We've also seen industrial disasters have been linked to sleep deprivation. And a really important one is medical and occupational errors. So I don't know if you know this, but the number three leading cause of death in the United States is due to medical errors. So this is a serious issue. A lot of times, especially with some of the staffing issues we're seeing nowadays, there are doctors and nurses that are working many long hours, not getting proper sleep, working doubles, working triples, and sometimes that can really affect their judgment and that can affect your health too. So very important to realize that sleep deprivation has a huge impact in our community. Some of the accidents, I mentioned industrial accidents, but some of the accidents that have been linked to sleep deprivation is the 1979 Three Mile Island nuclear accident that happened, the 1986 Chernobyl nuclear meltdown, the 1986 Space Shuttle Challenger explosion, the 1989 Exxon Valdez oil spill that happened in Alaska, the 1995 Star Princess grounding that happened in Alaska, and the 2009 Colgan Air Flight 3407 crash in Buffalo, New York. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit more about facts and statistics, wow, I can't say that word, associated with sleep and sleep deprivation. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of the consequences for your health as well as your life and family and how that can affect things. We're going to talk about some of the causes of sleep deprivation and some things that maybe you haven't heard about or haven't looked into before. And then we're going to talk about 8 steps to a good night's sleep. So according to the National Center for Health Statistics, they surveyed about 74,000 adults that 35.3% had less than 7 hours of sleep per night. 37, almost 38% of people reported they were falling asleep unintentionally during the day while at work and while about their day. And about 4.7% nodded off or fell asleep while driving. So that is a huge issue because this is affecting, like I said, I already mentioned when your motor vehicle accidents come around, if you're falling asleep at the wheel or you are falling asleep unintentionally throughout the day, you're not able to function properly. That can affect your judgment, that can affect your work, your productivity, and of course, relationships too. The National Center for Health Statistics actually looked at sleep behaviors in 12 states looking at a surveillance system. And they found that depending on your age group, so depending on where you're at in your age, so when it came to the 18 to under 25-year-olds, 43% of them unintentionally fell asleep during the day and 4% of them fell asleep while driving. When we get to the 25 to 35 range, we had less of falling asleep during the day, we're at 36, but 7.2% are falling asleep while driving. 35 to 45, 34% falling asleep throughout the day, 5.7 nodding off while falling asleep. When you get to the larger age groups here, 45 to 55 and then 55 to 65, those percentages are about the same, that 35, 36%, and then 3.9 and 3.1 falling asleep while driving. When we get to the over 65, we're actually seeing an increase where we have about 44.6, about 45% of people falling asleep during the day. And then we also have 2% of those falling asleep while driving. This was typically found more to happen in males. And obviously they have some race ethnicity here too. Depending on where you are looking at, it does depend. There's those 12 different states. I'm assuming that depending on what facility and what occupational hazards you have or what occupation you are in, that may also be a big factor. I didn't have any statistics specifically on certain occupations, but obviously we know as we age, we're seeing kind of bouncing around with that. And then of course, males, like I said, are definitely more affected by this. The other thing is when we look at highway safety, the Traffic Safety Administration found that drowsy driving, so not necessarily falling asleep, is responsible for 100,000 accidents, 40,000 injuries, and about 1,500 deaths every single year. Occupational and environmental medicine said that when we lose 4 to 8 hours of sleep, that's equivalent to a blood alcohol content of 0.08 to 0.1. So that basically means that you are driving while buzzed or drunk. So sleep really has a huge impact on how your body functions and your reflexes and how you're able to function properly while driving a vehicle. National Institutes of Medicine found that about 1 million injuries, 50 to 100,000 deaths are due to preventable medical errors, like I mentioned earlier. So sleep deprivation has lots of consequences. Like I said, decreased productivity, because obviously you can't get as much done if your brain is not firing on all cylinders. We're going to see concentration tank because of that as well. We're going to see less alertness. We're going to see less energy. We're going to see that our body has trouble making memories when we are sleep deprived. So if you tend to, or you're having to memorize things, if you are taking an exam or studying or need to have your memory top notch, if you are sleep deprived, that has a huge impact on your body's ability to make memories. We also see decreased reaction times, as well as increased risk of errors and accidents, and also chronic health conditions have also been linked with sleep deprivation. About 90% of insomniacs actually suffer from depression in addition to insomnia. So if you're not getting sleep, that can affect your health overall and have a lot of consequences, but we also see a lot of concurrent conditions where when you have insomnia, a lot of times you also have depression along with that. The health risks of sleep deprivation, obviously I mentioned depression already, but we can also see higher levels of anxiety because our body is not able to rest and heal during that healing REM sleep. We can see fatigue because obviously if you're not getting sleep, you're going to be fatigued throughout the day. We can also see some sexual dysfunction associated with that. Cardiovascular disease actually has higher risk when you are not getting enough sleep. Obesity has higher risk when you're not getting enough sleep. Diabetes, hypertension or high blood pressure, muscle aches and pains, pain in general, but we can also see personality changes. So if you've ever been sleep deprived and you notice you were shorter and not really able to function without snapping at people, that can also be associated with that. Loss of balance is another one. So if you are dealing with some balance issues or vertigo and you're not getting enough sleep, that may be some of that link with that. So some of the causes, like I said, obviously there may be some things that you may not have heard of or may not have thought to look into, but stress is a huge factor because when your body is under stress, it's going to deplete some of those essential hormones that actually feed into your sleep pathways and feed into your healing pathways. So when you're under stress and your body can't heal and recuperate, we can see sleep actually be linked to that because what will happen is your adrenal gland will steal away some of those precursors that help make melatonin, which helps you sleep, and also put your body in a heightened, more alert mode and more stimulated mode where it cannot release some of those relaxation chemicals like GABA in your brain to help you fall asleep or rest and be able to actually fully relax while you're sleeping. Anxiety is another one because again, anxiety tends to cause stress on the body and kind of affects those same pathways there. Depression, again, same pathways. So actually, interestingly enough, we have seen that when we have patients and people that are suffering with depression and anxiety, a lot of times their serotonin levels and their neurotransmitters and their brain levels are off balance, which has to do with not only digestion, but stress. We can also see medications can actually interfere with sleep. They can cause you to be wakeful. They can cause you to also get drowsy throughout the day where you're basically not sleeping, restful sleeping, and you're just getting kind of nod off here and there, more of that sedative effect. We can also see caffeine, nicotine, and alcohol. So Typically, people take those to help relax or to help stimulate them and keep them awake. But those again interfere with the energy pathways. And when your body is constantly stealing away from the energy pathways, you may not be able to sleep correctly to recuperate and restore that pathway. Medical conditions can be another thing. Changing your environment or your work schedule can be another one. So if you're going from first to second shift, the third shift, you're jumping around, that's going to mess with your sleep schedule, and that can affect how your body is able to actually relax and go to sleep. And if you tend to work or do stimulating things like play video games or watch movies in your room where you're supposed to be sleeping, your body may associate that with restful periods, or wakeful periods rather than rest. And that can mean that your body is basically trained to stay awake when you're in your room. Poor sleep habits are another thing. So if you are not preparing for sleep about half an hour to 45 minutes before bed, dimming lighting, making sure that you are basically kind of getting into a routine before bed. Some people do stretching or journaling, or if they do reading, you want to make sure you have indirect lighting. So not lighting directly on you, but pointing away, or dimmed lighting. If you are going to be on a lit screen like a computer or a cell phone, you want to make sure you have the blue light filter on. You want to make sure if there's a nighttime mode where it dulls down that brightness as low as possible. Those are great things you can do to help with basically helping your body make the right hormones to help you sleep better. And then also eating too much late in the evening. So sometimes if people are waking up throughout the night, it may be because their body is running out of blood sugar and you're kind of getting into that cortisol wakeful cycle. When your blood sugar drops, adrenal gland has to kick in to deal with that stress. So if you are eating at night, it's not necessarily a bad thing if you have enough time for your body to digest that. But for some people, eating late at night or eating too much can actually increase and stretch your belly. And that can actually interfere with your sleep cycle because your body's going to be focused on digestion, not necessarily sleeping. And then melatonin deficiency, I mentioned already that when we have some of those pathways, stress, digestive issues, anxiety, depression, that can affect your melatonin level. And when your melatonin level drops, your body is not able to release that to help you get to that restful sleep and healing sleep. Typically between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. is when your body should be in that REM sleep, healing and recuperating from the day. So if you're not sleeping during those times, that can also be a big factor. So if we look at melatonin, so melatonin is a really important hormone to help with your body's sleep cycle. So typically when you have darkness coming into your eye, that's going to signal your body to make melatonin. So we will actually have tryptophan. If you've heard of tryptophan before, that's what we like to associate with turkey time. It's Thanksgiving time coming next week. But that tryptophan is actually found in turkey and also other fowl and things like that. But that is actually a precursor to 5-HTP, serotonin, which is more of your wakefulness hormone. And then it also goes down to melatonin, which helps you relax and get to sleep. So you have basically, as that eye is getting that darkness, that's going to stimulate some nuclei in the body to signal the spinal cord to actually produce norepinephrine. So it actually will help again feed into that melatonin pathway for relaxation and sleep. So very important to make sure that you're getting the right nutrition, but also getting that darkness. That's why it's so important to make sure that you're getting rid of the blue lights and the brightness shining in your eyes. Indirect lighting is super important before bedtime. 8 steps to a good night's sleep. So biggest thing is I'm going to focus more on that sleep hygiene because those are so many things that you could be focusing on. Stick to a sleep schedule. You want to make sure that you have a routine and you're getting to sleep around the same time so your body understands, okay, this time of night, time for us to get ready for bed and get ready to go to sleep. That way your body knows exactly what time and knows every night it's the same time. We're not going all over the place. So you want to make sure we are doing relaxation techniques or some light exercises like yoga or breathing exercises before bed to help, again, kind of feed into those relaxation pathways. We want to make sure we're turning off the TV and any stimulating things like computers or cell phones. Use dim lighting. You want to make sure, again, that darkness is really the biggest key. Bedrooms should be restful. So again, don't be playing video games or working or watching movies in your room because that's going to be stimulating your mind to stay awake. That should be restful. So we want to focus on doing restful things or maybe doing some of those relaxation techniques in your room before bedtime. We also want to make sure, like I said, if you do tend to have blood sugar imbalance issues, this may not apply as much to you, but people that tend to have issues with food interfering with sleep, you want to make sure you're not eating within 2 hours of sleeping. Typically, if you do have issues with waking up due to blood sugar imbalances, I would say probably like more close to like an hour before bed because it takes about half an hour to 45 minutes for your body to digest and push it out of the stomach. So very good idea to make sure you're not eating too close to bedtime. Eliminate caffeine. So caffeine, like I mentioned, does tend to strip away some of those energy pathways and some of the things that help us to produce energy. Sugar intake also does the same thing. That actually binds to receptors in our brain to stimulate our body, but sugar can also be addictive and actually stimulate pathways that help us stay awake and alert. So I mentioned already Relax and Calm last week. If you haven't heard about that, Relax and Calm is a natural sleep aid that you can take during the day. It helps to reduce stress and anxiety, helps to kind of calm your body down and reduce those cortisol levels. At nighttime actually helps to get you to sleep and get restful sleep so you fall asleep faster, but stay asleep longer as well. So I mentioned this last week, but it does help to lower those high cortisol levels. It'll help because it's not drowsy, so it will not cause you issues with drowsiness where you can't get through your day. It'll help you get to sleep faster and stay asleep longer. No side effects. It does have a few different things inside of it. So that valerian root has been shown in studies to basically reduce the time required to fall asleep, help you get better sleep quality and less wakenings throughout the night. Hops is a natural sedative that actually helps with nourishment for your blood, your liver, your spleen, and your muscles. Passion flower fosters relaxation and eases your stress naturally. L-theanine is an amino acid that promotes deep sleep. It also helps support the adrenal gland. So again, we're not getting those hormone pathways interfering with sleep. And then magnesium is a nutrient that relaxes your muscles to help you fall asleep faster. It also helps with restless leg syndrome. It helps to relax your cardiovascular system, your digestive system. A lot of different things need magnesium. So if you feel like you've done a lot of those things already and really have not gotten results, there may be some further steps. Looking specifically at testing for melatonin deficiency, we offer that via a saliva test. We can also test for hormone balances. We also do that with a saliva test. So we can actually kill a couple birds with one stone. We can do adrenal testing, hormone balance testing, and melatonin testing with the same test kits. There's different levels that we're able to test with. And then we can also do a sleep study looking to see if we have apnea or narcolepsy or anything else going on that could be causing some sleep issues for you. So for those of you that want some help, we do have a limited opportunity. I do have 5 spots available for a free sleep consultation. So all you have to do is go to our website, freedompeoria.org. That's freedompeoria.org. To request an appointment, and just make sure you mention in the notes that you are wanting to redeem one of those sleep consultations, because they only have 5 spots available for that. So thank you so much for joining me here tonight. Hopefully you learned some things today about sleep and what you can do to get better sleep. I think it's super important overall when it comes to your sleep to understand that when you're sleeping, your body is healing and recuperating from the day. Super important to make sure you're getting the right things for great sleep and making sure your body is able to heal and recuperate from the day. So thanks for tuning in this Wellness Wednesday. Join us again next week with my special guest as we test out some healthy twists on some Thanksgiving recipes. Have a great rest of your night. Take care.